Well, people ask me all the time, Dave, how did you get started on eBay? And it's kind of an interesting story, I think. I actually was in a Toys R Us store when my daughter was little, and I was in the boys area, the boys' toys, and I was looking at these Hot Wheels cars, and it brought back memories of these cars that I used to have as a kid. And so I went to my parents' house and I dug up this collection of Hot Wheels cars that I had from childhood, and it brought back all these memories. I started thinking and doing some research on them. And I found this magazine back then called Toy Shop magazine, which was all about collectible toys. And I started doing research, and I saw somebody in there advertising. It was a dealer that was selling these vintage Hot Wheels cars. And one of them that I owned was $40. And I was like, wow, this car's worth $40. And then another car that I owned was $30, and so on. And one car that I owned was actually $400. And that just got my mind working. I started thinking, wow, what can I wonder, I just started doing some more research on this. And the more I researched it, I found out about these things called toy shows, where all these collectible toys are sold. So I started going to these toy shows. And right about then, I saw this one guy who had like 3 massive tables just covered with vintage Hot Wheels cars. And I remember that made such an impression on me because this guy was like the king of vintage Hot Wheels, right? And I kept wondering, okay, how did he get all these cars? Because these things are $40, $50, $200 each. And he had this massive table just filled with these cars. And it turned out about a year later, I found out how he was getting all these cars. And it's one of the things I mentioned in the Auctions for Income book is he was advertising that he was buying Hot Wheels cars. He was advertising in local newspapers and on the internet and things like that. And so I started doing the same thing. And I started advertising for Hot Wheels cars, vintage Hot Wheels cars, buying up collections. And I would keep the ones I wanted for my own collection, and then I'd sell the rest and still make a great profit. So from there, I eventually started selling these cars at an antique toy store here in Southern California. And I would basically go in once a week and fill my shelves with new stock. They would do the selling for me on consignment, and every month they would give me a check for the cars that they had sold for me, and I'd be a happy camper because it was funding my habit, my habit of collecting Hot Wheels. So from there, I started hearing, this was about 1998, I started hearing this new word in the vocabulary in the collecting world, and this new word was eBay. I bought this on eBay. Hey, I sold this on eBay. I was like, what is this eBay thing? I had no idea what it was. In fact, my computer was not hooked up to the internet. And now it's kind of funny to think that somebody's computer is not hooked up to the internet. But we had a computer, and my wife used it for paying bills and bookkeeping, but we were not connected to the internet. So I had a friend of mine sell one of my rarer Hot Wheels cars on eBay for me. And he sold this car for $837. And we took that money along with some other money and bought a brand new computer, hooked it up to the internet. And my very first week, I sold my cars because I already had a way to get all these cars. I sold my cars on eBay, sold $1,200 worth my very first week, and it just took off from there. And so it's been a fun ride, and that's kind of the story of how I got started on eBay. It all started through just a little childhood hobby that grew and exploded. I've sold thousands and thousands of vintage Hot Wheels cars on eBay since then. Been a power seller, a top-rated seller, but it all comes back to just a little childhood toy that I started collecting so many years ago.